Before we begin our chapter 3, some introduction. Here we're dealing with Pesach, and the Torah said we should not have 11 bread, but all the specifics of 11 bread remain unclear. There are three different categories of chametz, of leavened bread. Number one is the classical case. Classical case of chametz, it's called chametz gamur, meaning something that it's clear that it's chametz. Example, loaf of bread. Bal yira'eh uval yimatzeh. You should not have it in your midst, you should not see it, should not have it. Punishment, karet. We all know, if you have it in your house, you're in violation of bal yira'eh, bal yimatzeh. That, the classic case, clear. Second one, it's called chametz nukshe. Rashi tells us, use the word chametz ra. Literally meaning
evil chametz.
Bad chametz. But in our understanding, it's chametz that you do not eat it. It's called in Ivrit kederech achilato. You don't eat it in a regular, usual tzurat achila, usual manner. It's not befitting fully for food, but you can eat it in some circumstance. So that's anush belav. It's like a prohibited, but it's not part of the category of karet. Wow. The third category, it's called me'orav. Chametz me'orav, it's a mixture of chametz, and again, it's the same as the second category. It's in love, it's in a violation, but it's not karet. So we have three types of chametz. Now, Rashi tells us that when we are speaking about violation in Pesach, it's all under the category of the prohibition bal yira'eh u bal yimatzeh. You should not see it, you should not have it. Tosfot have a different view here. Tosfot said that you basically in some cases need to remove it from your table, but when there is the other category, it's not necessarily in violation. So again, we have now in our discussion a situation of number 2 and 3, but not number 1. Number 1, a clear loaf of bread, no one have an issue with that. We're talking about other category. So let's go to the Mishnah, Daf Mem Bet Amud Aleph, page 42. Ve'elu ovrin bepesach. These are the lavim, the violation, that the person, if he does that, he is in violation of bal yira'eh u bal yimatzeh. So again, according to Rashi, it's clear. That's the prohibition. According to the Tosfot, is gzera de Rabbanan, is decree of the sages. The Tosfot said, פירוש האוכלים ועוברים היינו מעל השולחן דלאו בני מיכל נינו אבל ביראה לקה. So Tosfot tells us that you need to, in a way, remove it from the table, but you don't have an issue of existence in those categories. And who are they? Kutach HaBavli, in Babylon, they used to make some type of tipping. And it was a combination of several things. It was first a spicy, but it's combined with other things. The Gemarrah later give an example. V'shechar amadi, that's what we call in our modern days beer, which is water combining with
water, with yeast and barley and all kinds of chametz.
So that's make it a beer, okay? V'chometz ha'adomi, it's a special vinegar made in Edom. Later the Gemara explained. וזיתום המצרי, mixture that they used to do in ancient Egypt for healing, for medicine. So all these four, it's called chametz al yedei ta'arovet. It's a leaven that become leaven by this mixture. Now, we go now to other category that is called chametz nukshe, which is וזומן של צבעים, ועמילן של טבחים, וקולן של סופרים. So, this, the list of chametz nukshe, it's a, they translated here the dryer broth, the baker well-worked dough, and bookmarkers, glue. Later the Gemarrah explains it. Rabbi Eliezer אומר, אף תכשיטי נשים. Rabbi Eliezer said that it's also in addition women adornment. Usually it's a cosmetic thing, and the Gemarrah explained. זה הכלל, this is the principle. כל שהוא ממין דגן, we explained many times that when it's come to Pesach, we have the 5 species of grain, so anything that is mixed with moisture and it's puff up after 18 minutes, it turned to be 11 bread. So anything that was made out of 5 species of grain, which is wheat, barley, rye, spelt, oat, so הרי זה עובר בפסח, is in violation of barley רעה, of barley מצה בפסח. Now, in regard to eating them on Pesach, הרי אלו, these 7 instances that we mentioned, be'azhara, which means it's not a regular negative prohibition, but it changed. Here it's malkot, but sometimes it's malkot, sometimes it's karet, sometimes it's bidei shamayim, sometimes bidei adam, but here it's malkot, it's lav ve'im, ve'en ba'em mishum karet. It's not under the category of karet for a person who eats them. So now the Gemarrah wants to give us several instructions. First and foremost, the Gemarrah is going to function here not only as the halachic guidance, but also as a nutrition guidance, healing. Yes?
You're talking about we can have a living in our possession. What about the female, the cosmetic that they use that have been living?
I just said that.
Yeah, but do they
we'll
got to
that in
they get rid of it or?
No. In some situation, very soon you see in the second part of this page, there is, it's a good question, there is a discussion in a certain category when it's combined with something that contain chametz or not. We will discuss. So anyway, so the Gemarrah here also is like some type of nutritionists helping us, guiding us with food. תנו רבנן, 3 דברים נאמרו בכותח הבבלי. So there are 3 important things were said in regard to kutach, the Babylon kutach, how it can damage a person's body. מטמטם את הלב, הוא מסמא את העיניים, הוא מכחיש את הגוף. It's not good for the person, it block the person's heart, it blind the person's eye, and weaken his body. And explain why. מטמטם את הלב, משום נסיובת דחלבה. Block the heart due to the way. So the idea is, you have like, it's called in Ivrit מיצי גבינה, that you combine it with melach sdomit, and you combine it with lechem meupash, which is a bread that it's in a sense old bread, filled of worm. So for sure it block the heart. And umesame et ha'einayim mishum milcha, it's create blindness because the heavy salt part of that. ומכחיש את הגוף משום קומניתא דאומה. It's make the body because it's a moldy bread. Imagine if you eat a moldy bread, it can right, it can warn the body. So again, this is some type of a side note. What is kutacha bavli? It reminds me, all the times they for cigarette, for tobacco, there is a sign that it's not healthy. It's a big sign on that, and people still buy it. So that's the way it is. Anyway, now, by the way, the Gemarrah continues and gives some negative effect of certain food. תנו רבנן שלושה דברים מרבין הזבל וחופפין את החומה. There are three things that increase the one's waste, which means a person's eat them. He has issues of constipation, issues with his digestion system, and also a lower one, a stature, which means make him like weak, Rashi said. ונוטלים 1/500 מאור עיניו של אדם, and take 1/500 of a person's visions if he eats them. אלו הם pag-aaral. Number one is bread from coarse flour, so it's not clean flour, and it create, the issue is that it's not healthy, it's not clean. V'sheichar chadash, if you have a beer at the very early stage of fermentation, and v'yarak chai, so if you eat a very spicy vegetable in a large amount, Rashi said, כגון קרישין ובשרים. By the way, Rashi said, וחופפים את הקומה, כלומר מדשים כוחו. I explained that Rashi in my book, ביאורי הכלומר ברש"י. Anyway, the next one is ירק חי, כגון קרישין ובצלים וחזרים, שאוכלים מהם הרבה תמיד. It's always in the balance. Imagine if a person eat jalapeno in a large amount. I have a friend, Rabbi Admoni of Staten Island, God bless his heart. Came from Yemen, he have 11 children. I sat with him one time for meal because we studied Chavruta for 5 years when we are close friends when I was a rabbi in New Jersey. So I was shocked and amazed how he eats not just jalapeno, but how he eats tremendous spices like you're eating a bread. Anyway, תנו רבנן שלושה דברים ממעטין את הזבל. Now the opposite way, that helping a person. וזוקפין את החומה, strengthen the person's body. ומאירין את העיניים, and improve a person's vision. אלו הן פת נקייה, bread from fine flour. בשר שמן, soon you see what does that mean, don't take it literally, that fatty meat. ויין ישן, and aged wine. Now the Gemarrah explain each of them. Pat nekiya, when you talk about fine bread, 42b, bismida, which means that it's made of the solid, if the flour that it's clear. Basar shamen, fatty meat, the tzfirta de la iftach, from goats that not giving birth. So you talk about not just a fat meat, talk about goat on the process, and you take that part of the goat before the liver meat, they're giving birth, it's healthy. I never did it, but that's what the Gemarrah said, which means that it's about to deliver the baby, but it's not yet delivered. That's Rabbeinu Hanan said. Yain yashan atike, meaning at least 3 years old. My wife's late grandfather has a very interesting minhag. Every time any one of his, he had many grandchildren, but any time one of his grandchildren was born, he put a bottle of wine, old bottle of wine, and put it aside, and he said whenever he or she will be either married or bar mitzvahs, he will open it. And that was the minhag. Every time they have a family simcha, you go to that closet and you pull out the name of that bottle and open it. And when we got married, it was like a bottle, who knows, maybe 30, 25, whatever years old. So here the Gemarrah said at least 3 years old. Now in addition, they give us a principle in medicine. They said, כל מילי זה מעל להי קשה להי. That's so beautiful. They said it's always a side effect. When you're taking something like antibiotic in our modern day, you have a side effect on the body sometimes. So he said if you have some type of food that help one side of a person, it can hit the other side. Bar, that's there is always an exception. Mizangavila retiva, zanjabil, it's wet. I think it's a moist ginger, but it's basically zanjabil.
Yeah, they say fresh ginger.
Fresh ginger, okay. Upilpele, and I think that the ginger in the modern days is different than the Talmudic days. It's a different. One of my friends told me it's an old Sephardic rabbi. He came from one of those villages that they have a very different zanjabil, like maybe you say ginger that we have. They combine it with tea. They make tea ginger made out of herb that they cut from the ground, and he said it's a very different than the common ginger you have. If you go to the Far East, you see also that their ginger is different. Anyway,
my mother made ginger beer as well.
So it's different. It's different than one.
Well, but it's the ginger, I think, is it's the same ginger, but you got to add other stuff. The root's the same, yeah. So
I knew that a friend of mine told me that anytime he has some type of issues of food digestion or tiredness, he chews ginger.
Ginger is also very, very effective for people that get seasick.
Seasick.
It prevents seasickness.
Okay, that's you. Okay.
Yep.
Pilpele arichta and long one, long pepper, and upat nekiya. We just said it. Ubasar shamen v'yayin hashan me'al echol leguf. It's always good for the body. So the old Rebbetzin, used to have an old Rebbetzin. So she said before the first day that the tzimukim, you know, tzimukim, the small one, I forgot what it's called. So it's good for a fast day. But always you have to be in balance when you use these fruits and vegetables. They are very, very good, but sometimes if you eat it too much or you eat it inappropriately, it can do harm to you.
Yeah. Next
one, Sheikhar Ramadi, the Median beer. So it's prohibited during Pesach. Why? The Ramu Beimei Seare, because they add some barley to it. V'chometz ha'adomi, and Edomite vinegar. So here, you should know that by us, you take a wine, after a certain period of time, it's no longer, leave it. But they have some certain way to keep it. The Sharu Bei Sa'are, that they place barley into it. So that's make it a vinegar, and that's keep them. Omar Rav Nachman bar Yitzchak, בתחילה כשהיו מביאים לנסחים יהודה לא היה עינם של יהודה מחמיץ עד שנולחים תוכם שעורים וקוראים אותו חומץ תם, ועכשיו עינם של אדומי מחמיץ עד שנולחים תוכם שעורים וקוראים אותו חומץ האדומי, וכאמה שנאמר אם מלאה חרבה, אם מלאה זו חרבה זו, אם מלאה זו חרבה זו. He said in time of Beit HaMikdash, there's a famous midrash that said that one food carries many, many tastes. We think today that we have certain fruits and vegetables that taste good, but according to that midrash, is nothing compared to the time of Beit HaMikdash. But they have the best of the best. Now, the result of Beit HaMikdash Churban, the destruction of Beit HaMikdash, and the midrash said because there are many people who are sinner, who have transgressed the Torah, therefore you find a lot of worms and things in the fruits, the midrash said, and not clear. It reminds me our mashgiach in yeshiva. I was in yeshiva many years ago. So we have a mashgiach who was above and beyond righteous man. So one time it was a Purim, and the students get together and get him expensive fruit, expensive apple, big, from the shuk, and gorgeous and beautiful, and we gave him like a little mishloach manot from all these students. So he was very impressed and everything, and look, so he sliced it, and he opened, boom, it's a worm inside.
Oy.
So he said, oh, we're all very embarrassed. He said, no, that's me, he said. I look great from outside, but inside I still need to do teshuvah. Anyway, so here they tells us here that when it's come to the relationship between Israel and Edom, so it's like Moshe Rabbeinu and Yoshua. Remember, he left up his hand, he put his hand down. That if this one is high, the other one is low. This one is low, the other one is high. It's always applied to that manner. So Rav Nachman bar Yitzchak amar mehacha uleomi yamat. Remember what the Torah tells us about Yaakov and Esau. When Rivka came to ask what's going on, they told her that it's going to be an inner battle between Yaakov and Esau, and when one side is strong, the other one is weak, and vice versa. Tana. אמר רבי יהודה ביהודה בראשונה לוקח חומץ מעם הארץ ולא צריך לאסר. So again, it was a increasing level of ignorance, early stage. So people, you know that people are not so educated, but they know that they have to give a tithe, and then you can trust them. Later, because it was increase of level of people who were not educated, so therefore they put a decree. The Gemarrah said in Sotah 48 that they put a decree that from now on they need to give a tithe if you get it from Am-haaretz, from someone who's not educated. You take something from Am-haaretz, you suspect that he maybe not did a tithe. Mipnei shechazaka eno ba ela min hatemed, because usually this type of wine or this it's you think that it's vinegar comes only from wine. ועכשיו הלוקח חומץ מהארץ צריך לאסר שחזקתו אינו לו בא מן היין. That's what he said, that because what happened is when you purchase vinegar from the uneducated person, you must tithe it, because the wine nowadays turn to vinegar quickly, and it's the presumption that vinegar comes only from wine. So you see here that sometimes it's only in external manner, because over there it wasn't the issue of masrot. B'savar Rav Yehuda temed lav bar asuriyu. So Rav Yehuda hold that temed is not subject to tithing. V'atnan am-tamed, the Mishnah said in Masrot chapter 5, that if someone is produce tamed, which means you take measure amount of water and afterward find a corresponding amount of liquid, and he measured them. So they said, v'natan ma'im amidah u'matzah kedem patur, is exempt. V'Rabbi Yehuda mechayev. So Rabbi Yehuda go by the way that it's appeared and the way that it tastes, because this tamed, it looks and tastes like wine. Rabbi Yehuda treated as a regular wine. So it means that this tamed has to bring a maaser. So even nothing added in the body of that fruit, but it wasn't shum metziut, shum davar of additional of wine. So the Gemara response said, if it was a time of Beit HaMikdash, it doesn't need to bring a tie. So that's apply again, time of Beit HaMikdash. That's the first explanation. Now the one, Ibaitema nechshedu velo kashya habirvaka habirdifutzne. One that is drugged and contains some amount of wine. So they carry meaning of wine. And the other one is it's something that's made out of grape pit. So it's a mix into them, and that's the way you assume. So he said you don't need to, it's you exempt from tithing. Vezitom ha-mitzri. He said, Ma'u zitom ha-mitzri? What is the Egyptian zitom? Tana Rav Yosef, tilta chukutme v'tilta sar v'tilta kutme v'tilta milcha. which means that he's 1/3, 1/3, 1/3, which is, that's something that for a person who is healthy. 1/3 is barley, 1/3 is safflower, and 1/3 is salt. Rav Papa mapik sare u'ma'alei chiyete. So Rav Papa took out the word barley and he put the word wheat. V'simanech nimanik is sisani. Sisani is like 2 times sin. So Rashi explained, it's like a basket that you put dates, and it's to tell us that Rav Yosef is that one who says sa'ar, because sin is resonate, the sound is same as sin. Taru lo, v'kalu lahu, v'tachanu lo. So they put it together and grind it. V'shatu lo midivcha v'ad atzarta, and they drank it like a liquid from Pesach to Shavuot. The kamit merapele. If someone suffers from constipation, he's healed from that. Uderafe mekametle. If you suffer from diarrhea, it make you constipate. However, to a ill person or woman that she is pregnant, it's not good because it created sometimes too much dairy, and it's an issue for them. Vezoman shel tzabayim. So now we go to the other list. This is the dire both. So it said hacha targimu maya chivre ditzbaru liba. So here in Babylon they interpreted that this is a brown water that people use to dye leather. So it means that this is chametz nukshe, and you al yidei adchak you can eat it. Va'amilan shel tabachim, and the baked well-worked dough. So he said, pat תבואה שלא הביאה שליש, שמניחה על פי הגדרה והיא שואבת זוהמה. So that's applied that the bread made from grain that was harvested before, and it was 1/3 ripe, and then made it into a loaf. The loaf will place at the top of a pot to draw out the field from the broth. וקולן של סופרין, הכה תרגומה פירורה דאוש קפה. Here in Babylon, they interpreted as a shoemaker glue that made from flour. So that they used to put kemach shipon, certain type of grain there. Another option, Rav Shimi מחוזנה אמר, זה טיפולן בנות השירים שמשרות להם לבנות עניים. It was different category between rich and poor. So he said the rich have the shemen amor, the oil of amor, that they left, and they give it to the poor people. So that's what left, small amount, whatever left, they give it to those who, and soon you see a category. So the Gemarrah said, Eini, is that true? V'atanya Rabbi Chia arba'a minei. So Rabbi Chia said that out of the 7 type of chametz, 4 used it medina, in everyone in the every citizen, the entire inhabitants. Ushlosha minei, and 3 types, or manut, certain profession use it. V'amart tipulam shebnot hashirim ma'im minei umanutika. If you tell me that this passed to the daughter of the wealthy, then what hardship is there in that? Because according to this interpretation, the substance does not belong to the list of ascertained items. So why Rabbi Chia put it as a part of the list of אומנויות? ולמר פירורה דאוש קפה, מה יקראו להי קולן שסופרים קולן של רצרנים מבעלה? אמר רב שאל עולם פירורה דאוש קפה, ובמה יקר אלה קולן שסופרים וסופרים למה מדבקים בנורתם. So it basically speak about the describe that the scribe, the bookmakers, also use it to attach their pages. And Rashi said in the very last line, עשוי, נייר עשוי מעשבים על ידי דבק שורים גלוד. So that's the ancient time which we call a papyrus. He said, אלא אם רבי אליעזר בן אף טיפולי נשים, משחת שיניים, it's good for taking off the hair. So that's forbidden on Pesach. דאמר רב יהודה אמר רב, בנות ישראל, 43, שהגיעו לפרקן, that they reach the physical maturity, which means that they have a hair and they feel that they already reached a certain age, ולא הגיעו לשנים, but they are not 12 yet. So you know what happened to those girls? They feel very embarrassed, so they want to get rid of that hair. So what they do, they used all these materials to get rid of a hair removal. It wasn't a laser like we have nowadays that you can take it permanently. So they said bnot aliyim, so those poor daughter of people who are indigent, who are poor people, toflot otan besid. So they use cheap materials. They smear them with a lime. Bnot ashirim toflot otan besolet. Daughter of rich people, they smear them with fine flour. Bnot melachim, but daughter of king, that extremely wealthy, beshemen amor. So they use a oil that's called amor, like used in the book of Esther, שנאמר, Esther chapter 2, 6 חודשים בשמן amor. When Esther HaMalka went for all that process to see Achashverosh, the pasuk said that they make in that beautification process, they put those daughter of kings with shemen amor. So it means that that's for very, very rich. So again, what happened here? You have a combination of chametz nukshe. It's a different type of chametz in a mixture, which means just what Gilbert asked me earlier, that you combine in that cosmetics something that made out of one of those 5 species of grain, which means that it's contained chametz, and therefore you have issues. So the Maram Chala was said that it's not the issue. Tosfot in the previous page and here said that it's not really an issue, but there are those who hold that since it still contains some grain, it's an issue. So you see here that the different avenue. Mein shemen amor. Now they want to understand the definition of shemen amor. Rav Huna bar Yirmiyah omer stakat. Stakat. So it's like a farsemon. What did they say in your Gemarrah? Stakat.
Let's see. They just say stakat, and they say that Rashi writes that he does not know the definition of the word.
No, stakat. Okay.
So.
Okay, so it's like oil of a
olive oil.
What?
Olive oil is
some special oil.
It's not olive oil, but
not olive. Rabbi said that it's a olive oil, but it's not. I think it's not virgin.
Yeah, that have not attained a third of their ripeness.
A third of ripeness. Tanya, Rabbi Yehuda omer anpakim shemen zayit shelo hevi shlish. So anpakim, it's an olive oil that from an olive that was not reached the third of its growth. ולמה סכין אותו? So why you need to, why people use that to spread it on the body? מפני שמשאיר את השיער ומעדן את הבשר. So if you see a lot of commercials, they tell you that you put this cream, you leave it there for a certain time, and then you take it off, and they take out the roots of the hair, and also soften, make the skin looks beautiful. שולחן ערוך אורח חיים 442. אילו עוברים. If on Pesach one possesses an item containing leaven mixed with other ingredients that is fit for consumption, he transgress the commandment of it shall not be seen and it shall not be found. Any such items must be removed from one's possession before Pesach. הרי אלו באזהרה. So the Rambam said in Ilchot Chametz Umatzah chapter 1, one who eats food containing a mixture of leaven on Pesach is not liable to be punished with karet. If one eats an olive bark of the mixture in a time that takes to eat a loaf of bread, then is liable to receive malkot. That's according to the Mishnah. Ham tamed, one who produced tamed, so that's a Rambam, Sefer Zmanim, Ilchot Maasrot, chapter 2. If one adds water to wine, dregs and filter it, and he finds that there are 4 parts of liquid for every 3 parts with which he started, then he must assume that the additional portion is wine, and he is obligated to separate tithe from the mixture for additional portion. If he finds less than 4 parts for every 3 parts he added, and certainly if he finds the same amount that he initially added, then he is not required to tithe the mixture. This ruling is accordant with the opinion of the sages who dispute Rabbi Yehuda's position. As Rabbi Yehuda is an individual sage in dispute of many sages, and the halacha accordance with many majority opinion, which we said Yachid v'Rabim, halacha kerabim.